Hey, what's up guys? So today in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing Retropie onto our Raspberry Pi 3 model. So this is going to help you out if it's your first time installing Retropie on the Raspberry Pi, or if for some reason your Retropie slash Raspberry Pi you already had installed, something went funky, some files are not loading, aka you cannot access it like before. This is going to help you reinstall it. It's basically the same step for both. Before we get started, we're obviously going to need a couple of things. Number one is going to be our Raspberry Pi. You can't really see it. I'm not going to take the case apart, but this is like some NES case that I bought for it. If you open it there, you can plug in the USBs there, LAN cable there. These buttons don't work, it just, I guess, for the look of it. At the side, it has this for your HDMI input and for your power supply. And here is where you're going to put your SD card, and that's going to install the images. And after you install the images, you're going to be able to install the ROMs on there. So first thing is first, we need that. Second thing that we're going to need is a power cable to plug it in. I'm just using this like Samsung charger from an old phone from S6 Plus. So I can't remember what type of USB this is, but it's not focusing in. But yeah, that's the cable in question. So that's going to be our power cable. Then we're going to need a controller. I'm going to use a PlayStation 3 controller and a USB cable for that to be able to connect to it when I hook it up to TV. Then obviously we need our micro SD card. So I have my micro SD card. It was already plugged in. I'm just going to reinstall everything. So it's going to be like a fresh install. But my micro SD card is in there, obviously. You're going to need a micro SD card adapter to be able to plug it into the computer. And lastly, you're going to need a USB jump drive to put your ROMs on and to be able to transfer it. Don't ask me why you can't put it on here all at once. That's just how it's been developed. So I'm going to go in the computer right now, show you guys where to get the image file, how to install it, and the proper SD card formatter. Because trust me, if you need to format your SD card and you use the one that's on Windows, it is due to like 90% of the time doesn't format it properly. So you'll see what I mean. We're going to get into it right now, so stay tuned. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm on my computer now. I've got the micro SD card plugged in there. But before I do anything, I'm going to reformat it so that we can do everything properly. And what I'm going to be using to reformat it is this. If you go on sdcard.org, here you're able to download this SD memory card formatter. You can try using the one that's installed on your computer, but usually it's not good. Like, it doesn't do it properly. I did it with that, like with the Windows one, like numerous times, and my Raspberry Pi would never work until I did it with this one. So we're going to open this up. That's the one in question. Out of the drive, it says boot. We're going to format it. We'll erase all that on this card. Do you want to continue? Yes, we do. So it says formatting was successfully completed. Perfect. Now we can go into installing Retropie onto our Raspberry Pi. So what we're going to want to do, open up the internet, your browser, whatever you got, Google Chrome, Firefox, and go to retropie.org.uk doc/first installation. This is just a guide, but here you can find the images to download and all of that good stuff. Now, in order to install it, you have two options. You can download the Retropie image and then use like Etcher to put it on, for example. As you can see, they have that there. Or you can download something called the Raspberry Pi Imager. And this way you don't have to download the file. It's already like there kind of thing. So we're going to click that. And I'm pretty sure I already downloaded this. I did. So here it takes you, you can download it. Let me just try to find where I put it. Raspberry Pi Imager. Open that bad boy up. And now it's going to say choose operating system. So what we want to do is make it an emulation and game. Yeah, an emulation and game operating system. And now we're going to select Retropie. And we're going to select Retropie 4.8, the one in question. So I'm doing it on the Raspberry Pi 3. So this file is for Raspberry Pi 2, 3, and 02. That's for 1, and that's for 4. It says it right there, as you can see. So I'm going to click on the one for my Raspberry Pi. And we're going to choose storage. And that's where our SD card is. And simply all you do is click write. All existing data will be erased. Yep. So now we got to wait for it to do its thing here. While it's writing that, though, I'm going to plug in my Raspberry Pi. Not power on, just plug it in. And once this is done, we'll go from there. So this is going to take, I don't know, a couple of minutes, maybe like 2-3 minutes. Shouldn't take that long. But after that, it's going to have the the Retropie files put on the SD card. So when we open up the Raspberry Pi, it should be able to like find those files and install it there. And then from there, we'll be able to plug in like our... You'll see. We'll be able to plug in our USB and get the ROMs going and everything, all that good stuff. Okay, so as you saw, it's finished writing. It took maybe like 2-3 minutes max, and now it's doing a verification process. And after that, we should be good to go to the next step. Okay, so now it says that it's been written to the SD card. I can click continue and remove it. I don't know why it was telling me to reformat it again. I guess when it creates that image on it, it bugs out the reader. But what we're going to do is take out the micro SD card from the computer, and now I'm going to show you how to do it onto our TV for the next step. So give me a second here. All right, so as you guys saw, we put the image on our SD card. I took it out of the micro SD card adapter. That's the SD card in question. It's a Lexar 128 gig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it into the back here. And there's pretty much only one way it can go. So you can't mess that up. If it can't go one way, then it's got to go the other way. I've got the power cable here from my cell phone, the old one. And before I plug it in, I'm just going to take this HDMI, plug that into there. And I don't believe I'm going to plug in a controller right now. I don't think I need a controller right now because it's just going to like install the image as far as I remember. So before I plug it on, let me just... I don't know what input I have it on, but we'll figure that out right now once the power is on. So we're going to plug that in. So it's showing me a green flashing light at the back, which means that it's reading information. The green flashing light at the back means that it's reading information. That's what it is. Now, if I put on HDMI 1, that is what's going on right now. So saying welcome to Raspbian, GUN Linux, and it's reading the disk and I guess installing the image. So you got to give this a minute. And as you can see, we've got Retropie on there, but we're not going to have any games. So what we're going to have to do is go back to our computer, use the jump drive, the USB jump drive, and we're going to have to name that, I believe, Retropie. label it as Retropie, and then plug it back in, wait a couple of minutes, and it's going to create all the folders where we can put their respective ROMs, like for Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all that fun stuff. But this takes a minute, so we're going to have to wait here. Boom. So you see we got Emulation Station out, and it's, I guess, installing all of those emulators. Preloading the user interface. Done. Okay, so it says no gamepads detected. I'm not going to do that right now, but what we are going to do is I'm just going to simply unplug this for now. We're going to go back on the computer and set up the USB jump drive so that we can get our ROMs going onto there. So give me a sec. All right, so I plugged in my USB jump drive. As you can see, it's called Retropie already because I had stuff on here. I just want to do it like to show you guys. But let me make sure I have the ROMs there. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, if you don't have any files, you can omit this step. But what I'm gonna do is just format it quickly. You just gotta make sure it's formatted to like FAT32 or exFAT. So I'm just gonna go to quick format here, volume label Retropie. That doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure you can name it whatever. You just need to have a folder named Retropie in it though. Okay, so that's been formatted. Now if I open it back up here and go to here, Retropie, there's nothing there. Perfect. So we're gonna right click and we're gonna go to new folder and put Retropie, all lowercase. Now you're done. You can take this out of the computer, and what you're gonna do is plug this back into the Raspberry Pi, turn on the Raspberry Pi, and if it has like a blinking light, you're gonna see, but on the USB jump drive, you're gonna see it blinking, like transferring the data. And what it's gonna do is gonna take a couple of minutes. It's just gonna basically create folders for us so that we can put our ROMs on there. And then we have to go back to the computer, put the ROMs on, take it out of the computer and put it in the Raspberry Pi and let them transfer. So it's a bunch of like steps, but I mean, it's super easy. It's not hard. It's just time consuming. So give me a sec here and I'll be back. All right, so you saw we got the jump drive, and what we're gonna do simply is plug it into the one of the USBs that we have available. I'm gonna put in the first one, and I'm gonna plug it back in and not touch it. Just let it do its thing for like 5 minutes, just to be safe, you know. So I'm gonna plug it in. Red light means it's turning on. Let me change it to HDMI 1. So it's powering back on, and what it's going to do is, like I said, it's going to create those folders for us. It's going to have a bunch of different ROM sections. And once it does that, oh, fudge, you can't see. I don't know if you could see that. Basically, it blinks once in a while here. You see that red blinking? That means like getting data, transferring data, right? So that's what it's doing now. Once it stops blinking like that, we should be good to go. Like this process is fairly quick. It's not going to be obviously as long as like when you're transferring the ROMs. So it's loading everything again, as you can see. The blinking seems to have stopped, but I'm just going to wait like... I'm going to wait like 10 seconds. 10 seconds just to be safe. Better safe than sorry. All right, it don't seem to be blinking anymore. I'm pretty sure it's created. It just has to create like a folder with many subfolders in it. So you could probably leave it on, but I'm just gonna turn it off for now. We're gonna unplug this. We're gonna go back to my laptop, and then we're gonna put the ROMs on there in the respective folders, and then transfer them onto here. All right, so we have, looks like, successfully made that happen. So now when you open it up, the Retropie folder on your USB jump drive, you're going to see BIOS, config, and ROMs. ROMs are where you're going to want to put your games. So for example, if you have ROMs for Game Boy Advance, it's going to go in there, right? If you have ones for Game Gear, it's going to go in there. Atari, depending on which one, is going to go in one of these folders. You know what I mean? Sega, NES, and 64. Now, me personally, I've tried all of these systems, which I'm going to transfer. So all of these work flawlessly. You know what I mean? And even PlayStation 1 works flawlessly. As far as N64, I've had issues with it. It just doesn't run that good, man. So I'm not going to do that or my PlayStation 1 right now. But let me do like SNES, for example. Whoops. I think I'll only do like one or two for now, just so you guys can see. Fudge. Okay. So what did I have? SNES? Yeah. Now, as far as finding the ROMs, I'm not going to tell you where I found them from because I don't want to get in trouble. But I mean, it's the internet. You guys know how to use the internet. It's easy to find. And if they are in a zipped folder, I'm pretty sure you could upload it, but then you're going to have to click like Super Mario World and Super Mario World again. Whereas if you extract them and upload them, it'll be a lot easier, right? But we'll transfer this, and I'll transfer one more just so you can see like two different systems. So let it just transfer all of this good stuff. Okay, so as you can see on SNES, if we click there, I made two folders. I shouldn't have done that. Let me go like this, copy them, and just put it there because it's going to be a lot easier. Sorry, man. I'm a dummy because now it's going to go from SNES folder to SNES folder, then the games, where when I transfer it now, it's going to just be SNES and then the games will show in the list, right? So that's a little mistake. My apologies. And then I'll be able to delete this folder because it's pointless. It's all here now, right? So I can skip this folder now. I should have done that from the jump, but what I did is I copied the whole folder with the folder name instead of going into the folder and copying the ROMs, you know? So my apologies. Perfect. Okay. So that's what I originally tried to do. Sorry about any misconfusion there. I'll delete that. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm just going to put one more. I don't know. Let's do Game Boy Advance for the heck of it. Control A, Control C to copy it. I'm going to close that and open up where this is. Go back to my ROMs folder and find GBA. Control V to copy it. And now give it a second to do its thing. And then we're going to add these ROMs onto the Raspberry Pi / Retropie. I'm not going to do any more systems right now because it's time consuming. So I don't want to sit here for like, you know, longer than I have to. I just want to show you guys how to do it. Okay. So now in our ROMs folder, we have GBA, Game Boy Advance. We have those games there. And if I go down to SNES, it should have those games there. You can add more ROMs if you want. We're not doing that in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the USB cable. I mean USB jump drive. and we're gonna go on to the TV again. So give me a sec. All right, so now we're more or less done with the computer. We don't need it unless we want to transfer more games. So same thing like I did last time. I'm gonna plug it into the first USB option on the Retropie before I power it on, and then I'm gonna power it on. And now it's going to be blinking again here because it's going to be transferring the things. And when it stops blinking, it means that you should be good to go. Now keep in mind, depending on how many ROMs for how many systems you put on, it's going to take longer to transfer. So I put on SNES and Game Boy Advance, and it took us maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes from the computer to the USB jump drive. So I'm assuming it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes to transfer it here, all right? So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a drink, let it do its thing, transfer, and when it's done transferring, you'll see the next step. Okay, so I came back, I went and got a drink. It looks like it's restarted again. It is still flashing a bit, if you can see that there. To be honest, like I could, while it's flashing, I can pull it out, like the USB jump drive, and it'll just have the games that have been transferred over so far. And if you want the full list, then you got to wait the full time for it to stop blinking. If your USB has a light that blinks, if not, you're just gonna have to kind of guess with it, you know. But it's restarting here, so let's see what it does. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to turn it off after and on again because I'm a dummy. I should have set up the controller. Because if you set up the controller, you can just like press start, you know, go down on the menu and restart emulation station. But since I didn't do that, I'm gonna have to set up the controller and plug it in, right? Okay, so as you can see, it says no gamepad detected because we didn't set it up. I'm gonna be using the PS3 controller. This is still blinking, so at this point, I don't care. I want to go play Warzone with my friends. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that bad boy out. Take it out. I'm going to plug this in. My PS3 controller. And it says no gamepad detected. The A button. So I want to be able to set it up like this. Like my Super Nintendo. So what is that? XAYB. XAYB. So there's going to be XAYB. So there's going to be my A. Oh. So I'm going to press up. You just basically set how you want to set it up here for the controller. So D up, D down, D left, D right. Start, select. Button A will be this. Button B will be this. Button X will be that. Y will be that. Left shoulder, right shoulder. Left trigger, right trigger. Left thumb, right thumb. Left analog up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. And hotkey, I'm going to press that. And then we press OK. I just don't know which one confirms OK, but yeah. Okay. Now it's restarting with our new controller settings. Oh, my bad. No, it's going into a game. I pressed something. I didn't wait for it to load. Okay, so the way that I've set it up is if I want to, excuse me, quit out of the menu, go back, I press start, and then I hold the PlayStation button and it takes me out, like, out of the game, right? Now, if you want to see the system, so this is the Retropie menu. That's the Super Nintendo games that we have. That's the Game Boy Advance games that we have. And that's pretty much it, because we didn't install anything else. There's a bunch of things you can do. You can download, like fix it so it has like the picture right here and stuff. I'm not going to do that now. It's just basic setup. You can also like change the splash screen when the Raspberry Pi powers up, stuff like that. Like there's a whole bunch of things that you can customize and do. We're not going to get into all of that. I just want to show you this. Like for example, this, I'm pretty sure there's a way to hide this screen too. But don't press anything, just let it load. So as you can see, we're running what, Mega Man something. So whatever, new game. So that's Mega Man. Now let me go into Super Nintendo. Run whatever, I don't know. Animaniacs. Whoops. So there you go. That's Animaniacs on SNES. So as you can see, it's super easy to set up. It just takes some time. It's not hard at all. That's what I want to show you guys. I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, let me know. I will try to make maybe another video like how to install a custom splash screen. So like when the Raspberry Pi powers up, you can have your own custom screen. But yeah, for now, this is it. I hope it helps you out, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. All right, peace.